We have a great privilege of having here Pastor Lee and Marji Venden. Welcome. So, it's your first time in Poland. What are your first impressions?
It's beautiful. I really like it.
Yeah, we didn't know what to expect since we've never been here before, and we've just thought everything has been beautiful, and the people are wonderful, and we like the peace and quiet of this place. The forest is gorgeous.
The lake is gorgeous, too.
It's also your first contact with the Polish Seventh-day Adventist, I believe. Is there anything in particular that surprised you?
Yeah. There's way more younger people, 40 years of age and younger, here than we ever see at American camp meetings.
And the group of children is amazing, too. Wonderful children everywhere we go.
Thank you. I'm not sure if you're aware, but everyone was really looking forward to you coming. And you probably know that everyone compares you to your father because he's such a well-known figure in the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Are there any similarities or any differences in your ministry that you both devoted your lives to?
We both have the same string on the violin, which is Jesus and getting to know him, and how that getting to know him changes us. But
he's a lot more animated, you know. He's all over the place, whereas his dad stands in one place, you know.
Of course, I have to be less animated with David standing beside me because I have to try and make sure I leave space for him. And so I'm trying to kind of stay in my little zone.
And growing up in your father's home, did it make it easier or more difficult to get to know Jesus personally?
Well, it's interesting. Until I had that spark that I talked about on the first Sabbath we were here, it didn't make any difference to me because I wasn't on that wavelength. I wasn't tracking that way. After my after my spark, or in America we call it the click, then it was wonderful because that's what he's talking about in all of his sermons, is getting to know Jesus and how to know him better. And once I got excited about that, then his sermons were wonderful. Before I was excited about that, his sermons were just like any other sermon. They were just sort of...
But you were proud of him.
I was always proud of him. I never felt... Some people would say, how does it feel to be a preacher's kid? And I would say, it probably doesn't feel any different than for you to be a person's kid, because he's just my dad, and doesn't bother me that he's a preacher.
You have shared your story, but how about you, Marji? How did you meet Jesus personally?
Well, I grew up in Seventh-day Adventist environment, but it wasn't until I met Lee that I understood what it was to know Jesus as my own personal friend, and it just was a complete turnaround for me. That began a series of daily meetings with him that just have grown and grown through the years, and I just love my best friend.
And is it a challenge being a revival preacher, full-time wife? Is it a challenge for you and your family?
Yes, our family probably thinks we're gone too much, but it's very rewarding for Lee and I because typically our meetings I do a presentation for the children too at the beginning that ties into what he does, and it's very rewarding to be doing it together and to see the way people grow, and you see the light start to come on their eyes and they're excited, and it's just very meaningful to be a part of. I love it.
So how much time actually do you spend traveling in a year?
I think it's probably about 10.5 months out of the year. So if you take the 6 weeks, then sort of space it out all year long, a little bit here and a little bit there, there's probably about 6 weeks of the year that we're more closer to home.
And that's, traveling takes up a lot of that time too.
So yeah, for 8 years we haven't been home very much. We get our mail, and when we come home, and then we pay the bills and go on our way again.
See his mom and sister there.
See my sister and mom.
But still, there is a place you call home, is there? And how many countries have you been to, or how many continents have you been to?
I don't know. It's not that many.
South Africa, Sweden,
Slovakia.
Slovakia and Prague.
The Czech Republic. Canada, we've been all over Canada.
Yeah.
It's closer. We're going to Guatemala or South America here coming up, and we've been to other countries, but since doing this revival ministry is what I'm answering to you right now. But we've been in other places preaching. It's just
So, having traveled around the world, have you noticed any particular need that is common for all Adventists? What would you say?
it's the same need for all Adventists everywhere. It's not just around the world. I mean, beyond. When you say around the world, my mind thinks beyond America. I mean, your mind thinks beyond Poland, but it's the same in America as it is everywhere. Our denomination is getting very excited about discovering that they can have a closer walk with Jesus than they understood they could. And that if they focused on Him, the things that typically we have given our attention to end up coming with the package. I don't know if that makes any sense, but
it's like we see them. It's sort of like if they have seemed like their head has been underwater, and all of a sudden they can breathe. Their head is up, and it's wonderful to see that. Just kind of, that's what it's about. I like that.
one of the most common responses that we get from people who will come up to us after a meeting and shake our hand is, all of my life I've been trying to get God to like me by doing things right, and I've always felt like I wasn't sure if I'd done good enough. But after listening to you, I've discovered God already likes me, and He just wants me to spend time with Him, and that if I can do that, He will take care of making me the way I need to be. And they say, this is the best news I've never heard before. And so that's the thing that we get excited about. But we find that everywhere we go. It doesn't matter where. Same thing.
At all ages, too.
All ages.
Young and old.
You spent almost a week here, so what memories are you taking back?
Marji had one in particular she wanted to tell.
In our room, you know, it's into a sofa, but then it makes into a bed.
The couch can go
He's
down
on the
like
bed
this.
side that's nearest the wall, and one night he was turning over and he didn't realize.
I went to reach for my watch, which I had set down on the floor, and I did not know.
And the bed just
whoop! And instantly,
and he was gone.
boom! I vanished.
So funny.
I was between the wall and the bed. Boom! And there was only about half as much space as there is in a coffin.
It was funny to me, but it was not funny to
She started laughing.
I couldn't stop laughing.
I was like stuck there, wedged between the wall and the mattress.
I
So
came
she
and
had to
helped
pull
him,
on
but-
she had to pull on the bed, the mattress, to pull me back up again.
I just hope it wasn't in the middle of the night.
No, right
Right when we were getting ready to go to
had just gone
sleep.
to bed, but it was so funny I couldn't stop laughing.
Yeah, I said, I'm glad you're so entertained.
And what's next on your agenda? Where do we see you next?
You mean where we're going to be doing seminars next? We're going to be in the middle of the United States, a place called Kansas City.
In Kansas.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually a place where we were pastoring there before, so
More than 20 years ago.
it'll be very fun to go there.
Sentimental journey.
People we
Yeah.
love and we got close to before. So.
Is there anything you would like to share with the youth and the Polish church? Just, I don't know, one sentence that you would like to leave them with.
Well, I've met a lot of nice ones around this camp, and I just like to encourage them to keep on putting God first in their life. They won't regret it at all. He's the best friend they could ever have, and keep on connecting with Him.
There was a little girl who wrote a letter to C.S. Lewis, a Christian writer who was a very busy man. And she was just a small girl. She wrote from America. And she told him that she liked his children's stories, but she didn't understand his theology books. And she said, can you help me? And he wrote her back. This busy man took time to write this little girl back, Mary Ann. He said, "Dear Mary Ann, I am glad you love the children's stories. You told me you love them most because they make you think of Jesus." And he said, "It doesn't matter that you don't understand the other books, because I am sure of this. As long as Jesus is your friend, nothing too bad will ever happen to you." And then he signed his name, C.S. Lewis. And if I was going to say anything to anybody, to kind of like hang on to that, as long as Jesus is your friend, nothing too bad's ever going to happen to you. It doesn't mean that bad stuff won't happen.
No.
It just means it won't be too bad. Because even if I die, my friend Jesus is going to wake me up. So nothing too bad can ever happen to you.
And he will carry you through the hard times.
Thank you so much. Thank you.